This is not a government that works. This is an abysmal failure and a stain on this Commonwealth.
This week in Pennsylvania, Republican frustration boils over what the Wolf administration's response is to repeated failures of the unemployment compensation system. The state is a big winner when it comes to expanded gaming, but March is a reminder that there are losers among us. Lots of them. And Republicans had a plan to poach a Democratic seat in Congress and protect an incumbent. But another GOP incumbent refused to participate. Hello and welcome to This Week in Pennsylvania. I'm Dennis Owens. We're covering hot topics in PA policy and politics, as well as the issues that are important to you and your family. Well, Republicans are frustrated by the new congressional map because it forced two GOP incumbents into the same district. But there's also frustration toward one of their own who refused to go along with a plan that could have saved an incumbent and booted a Democrat. It was a strategy supported by Republicans in Washington to pick up a seat in Pennsylvania. The new congressional map chosen by the state Supreme Court put Fred Keller, the junior PA Republican, in the 15th district with Glenn Thompson, the senior PA Republican. A seat had to be sacrificed somewhere.
The liberal Supreme Court wanted to get rid of a Republican. They also want to make Republicans fight.
To fight back, the Republican strategy would have two incumbents take baby steps east, Keller to the new 9th, in which he grew up and has deep ties.
I've gone to church in the new 9th since 1978.
The plan called for Dan Muser to move from his current 9th to the neighboring 8th and take on, and in theory bump off, 10-year incumbent Democrat Matt Cartwright. Republicans would pick up a seat. But is the strategy sound?
Yes, because Dan Muser has deep ties to that 8th district. His business is there. He's lived there for a long time.
Muser has money, name recognition, and many believe would benefit from the coming red wave on Election Day.
I bumped over. The other one of us could have bumped over and ran against Cartwright. And it would have been all hands on deck to help defeat Cartwright.
But the unnamed other one of us is Muser, who said no thanks. He'll stay in the overwhelmingly Republican 9th, saving the cash and the clash with an entrenched incumbent. Chris Nicholas understands.
Muser now goes from having to run a very tough race, either against a fellow Republican or potentially against a Democrat, to really just being able to kind of take it pretty easy this year on the campaign level.
Not so easy for Keller, who bowed out rather than take on another Republican.
There was an opportunity for us to all run and potentially have a race against Matt Cartwright. That didn't turn out.
Some Republicans are annoyed with Muser. Keller won't criticize him publicly, but would only say this when I asked if he'd spoken to Muser. That had to be a little dicey when you first said, well, I'm going to run in tonight.
Well, I'm going to talk about the positive things I have to talk about, and that's getting people elected to office.
And we did reach out to Muser's office, which declined to comment for this story. Former State Auditor General Eugene DePasquale says he will not run against Representative Scott Perry for a second time. DePasquale's been exploring another run for Congress in the 10th District, which is in and around Harrisburg. For nearly a year now, he's been looking at that. But the Democrat who lost to Perry in 2020 says the new boundaries are not more favorable. A first this week is a state senator endorsed former TV doctor Mehmet Oz for the U.S. Senate. Mike Regan is giving Oz a thumb up. Oz and one of his opponents, Dave McCormick, are spending unprecedented amounts of money on TV ads. They are taking aggressive swipes at each other. Regan is convinced Mehmet Oz is the right choice.
People want to say that he's not from Pennsylvania, and I guess that's true, but I mean, I guess the rationale there would be, well, who's he going to be advocating for in the Senate? As a Pennsylvania senator for Jersey? I don't think so. I mean, I think he stands for the right things. It'd be nice to have a Pennsylvania senator who's the smartest guy in the Capitol.
This is Oz's first endorsement from a state lawmaker. Another of his opponents, Jeff Bartos, already has dozens of those endorsements, and another of his opponents, Dave McCormick, will join us on this show in just a couple of minutes. A failing grade, say some, incomplete, insist others, but test scores from the pandemic school year were released Friday, and they are predictably bad. Scores dropped almost across the board for elementary and high school students in public schools. The number of kids who took the test was also down by nearly 30%, which officials say skews the data. Of course, kids were in school, then virtual. Academic rigor was spotty. So was internet service in many areas. Add in the stress of coronavirus, and you have a predictably negative result.
Unfortunately, I think the test results that we're seeing come out kind of really placed our fears on paper, and we realized that that there is a gap there now because of that learning loss, and we need to figure out how best to address it.
It's clear that standardized tests administered during the pandemic were simply an exercise in compliance, and they offer a very incomplete measure of student performance during the pandemic.
It is now up to each district to figure out exactly where their learning gaps are and come up with a plan to close those gaps, which could include longer school days, summer school, or outside tutors. Well, the heat was on this week at Appropriations Committee hearings. Republicans in the House ripped the Department of Labor and Industry's acting secretary for continued problems with the unemployment compensation system. Pennsylvanians continue to get scammed. Legislators say they can't even get phone calls answered or returned. State Rep Natalie Mihalik among them.
So I have to ask, for the last 365 days, what have you been doing besides providing lip service to us? Because whatever it is not working for the people of Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Representative. I really appreciate your perception on what has occurred over the past year. However, I have to disagree with you.
It's not a perception, ma'am. It's not a perception. This is what's going on in our district offices. We fielded the same number of calls in 2021 as we did in 2020. The unemployment rate is going down. Yet we are still on the hook for all of these people that can't get service through the Department of Labor and Industry. It is not a perception, it is a fact.
Okay.
GOP lawmakers are also frustrated the department has not notified fraud victims. The secretary said details on free credit monitoring will go out to those folks this week. A new bill in the state Senate would suspend Pennsylvania's sales tax on all purchases this June and July. Democratic Senator Lisa Boscola says inflation has pushed up the price of nearly everything, and Pennsylvanians deserve a break from the 6% state sales tax. She also says the state has a budget surplus, and this is the easiest way to give that money back.
You know, temporary things like that look good, feel good, and what kind of impact they have on our overall economy. We'll have to look at that.
You hear a lot of people, when they're running for office, they always say, oh, we have to keep money in people's pockets. Stop, gouging them. Well, here's a way. So put your money where your mouth is and pass something like this to help people. They would really appreciate it.
Governor Tom Wolf says he'll look at the details, but his priority is reducing school property taxes. Well, March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and while the Commonwealth educates the public on gaming responsibly, it's also raking in more gambling revenue than ever before. The proliferation of online gambling and the arrival of digital sports betting in PA have helped casinos and sports books win big during the pandemic. And as more Pennsylvanians wagered, more sought help for problematic gambling habits by way of the 1-800-GAMBLING service. Calls and texts doubled last year compared to the 2 previous years. With car prices so high and supply low, State Attorney General Josh Shapiro warned dealers to play fair. Shapiro says his office has received complaints of unfair or deceptive practices like hidden fees and charging more than advertised. Shapiro says new and used car dealers could be charged under the state's consumer protection law. Ford and GM have already warned their dealerships that if they price gouge customers, they will be last in line to receive new shipments. Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board is taking a stand against the Russian invasion by removing Russian-made products from all of the state's fine wine and good spirits stores. It will continue to sell branded products manufactured in the U.S. A PLCB spokesperson says sales of Russian-made products brought in $1.1 million over the past year, which is a mere drop in the overall booze bucket in Pennsylvania. The state's treasurer and its pension funds have said this week they are working to divest from any Russian investments because of the invasion of Ukraine. Stay right there. We're right back with U.S. Senate candidate Dave McCormick.
ABC 27 is your local election headquarters.
The best part of my day is when I get to hand my client their settlement check, knowing they get the money they deserved. If you've been injured, call Schmidt Kramer today.